one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Look, I'm through with this false persona. I can't do the Mr. Goody two-shoe shit any longer. Y'all check y'all hoes at the door while I'm putting it on her. Feel less responsible for my actions when I say I'm on the edge and these niggas just keep harassing. Killing people I love, man, this shit just a crime of passion. I know this isn't me, boy, stop asking me what didn't happen. I've been talking to my demons, y'all really thought I was capping. Now y'all scared cause you found that I'm really about all the action. Don't do the pretend shit, all of my problems for instance. Tugging the cheek over tension, nice that we can barely mention. I would say I moved on, but I know that shit hard to convince it. I sleep at ease when she pull up like a hardy convention. Never been harder to fit in. I know niggas, no pot to piss in. Needing assistance. Also, no niggas ran plays with pistons. Both old wisdom. I sleep in silence, knowing everything good with the profit. I checked the summary last month, made 11 deposits. Everything is big up on the boy, feel like Christopher Wallace. Strong arm the game, who gon' stop him? That nigga too brolic. I've had enough of they twisted logic, that shit retarded. I question everything. I made the wrong choice between a paddock or a wedding ring. Hope you catching everything. They get goosebumps when I spit like when a net is seen.
They've had every opportunity to make this right. And they won't. And I'm like holding my breath. I'm waiting for the other cleat to drop in Baltimore. Like, are you guys going to do it now?
Hell, I might send him a bouquet. Because Skip, here's the thing, okay? He comes in, Flacco's playing, Flacco get hurt, he's playing bad anyway. He comes in, he leads them to the playoffs. The next year, he wins the MVP. The next year, he takes them back to the playoffs and wins the playoff game. So what else do you need to see before you give this man his money? So he plays last year, okay? You don't give him his money. And now, you're in the playoff with Lamar. We're in the playoff, bro. Ooh, we good, Lamar. No, we're not good. And we're not going to be good until you break bread. Make the money right.
Super wild card weekend has come to an end. And this is why we love football, bro. This is why you love football. Listen, we're going to get into a lot on the show tonight. First, we're going to start off with the game I just got done watching, Jags Chargers. Then we're going to get into the Seahawks 49ers game. And then we're going to talk about some other things towards the end of the show. I appreciate everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, share, help me grow the channel. And I appreciate you, man. I really do. All love. But my boy Trev, listen, I saw all the tweets. I saw them all in the first half after my boy threw 4 interceptions. I saw it. I heard what the people were saying. But see, this is why you got to learn how to watch a football game. All right? You can't just watch for pure entertainment at all times. Sometimes you got to be able to watch a football game and actually understand what's actually going on. Going into the half, when the Jags scored, I said if they can come out in this next half and score twice, stop the Chargers twice, they can win this game. Because as bad as it looked, 27-0, as bad as it looked, it wasn't as bad as it should have been. You see, the Chargers had 2 of those turnovers only lead to 6 points. 3 once and 3 another time. They scored twice, but Justin Herbert didn't play a bad game, but he didn't play a good game. He was not really a difference maker in this game. He made a lot of the throws that he make every Sunday that we see. But the thing is, I said it before and I'll say it again. Justin Herbert's inability to win big games, whether it be because he can't get his team to the big game, or whether it be the excuses that people give as to why he can't come through in these big games. He has not been able to come through in big games. I told you, did not care too much about them making the playoffs because I told you like a month ago they would make the playoffs because of how weak the schedule was down the stretch. And if he is who we think he is, he should be able to lead this team over these teams that they'll play. And if nothing else, the teams will play so bad that they will be in a position. Now, I predicted all of them would be close, which most of them were. But nonetheless, they got into the playoffs. I told you this was the hardest game for me to pick. I didn't even release my pick prediction on the video. I actually made it and it didn't upload. But I was picking the Jags. I had made that clear throughout the week to most people. But I never officially picked the Jags on the show. But you're just going to have to take my word for it. I ain't never lied to you before, so why am I lie to you now? When I don't make certain picks and I told you who I thought was going to win, it be losing teams sometimes, and I still tell you, like, I picked that team, and it's crazy that they lost. But so I'm telling you right now, I was always picking the Jags, and I'm mad that the video that I made for the show got corrupted because I made some great points in that show that I'm gonna have to reiterate tonight. That kind of proved exactly why I was taking the Jags in this game. Now, I couldn't imagine the Jags would go down 27 points. However, they went down 27 the clean way. 4 interceptions by Trevor Lawrence. Asante Samuels Jr. had 3 of them. Unbelievable game from him. Unbelievable game in the first half. In the second half, and it was something that was so key to me about Trev. He continued to throw at Asante Samuels Jr. He did not allow those interceptions to stop him from attacking that side of the field or a matchup that he might have liked when they had him on him. That is so key. I talk about all the time how I watched Aaron Rodgers play against the Seahawks a while ago, like a couple years back. I'm almost certain it was the game where they had to fail Mary. He did not target Richard Sherman like at all in that game. He never went to Richard Sherman's side of the field. Richard Sherman essentially eliminated an entire side of the field. Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback at that point in time. Trevor Lawrence did not allow Asante Samuels Jr. to eliminate the entire side of the football field. He can, mind you, Asante was traveling at times. So the fact that he was always willing to go at Asante Samuels Jr. when he liked the matchup, that just tells you that he didn't fold when he went down 27-0. Now, also, when you look at this game, I know some people was like, oh, it's over. But you see, I watched the Chargers. Been watching them all season. Watched them last year. Aside from the Justin, because my only complaint with Justin Herbert is the fact that it just don't feel like when I watch him playing these big games, he do anything special that he don't do in regular games. Like, I don't see a elevated level of play. And it's what's hurting Justin Herbert in my mind that people don't make enough, like, talk about enough. What if Justin Herbert is good because of the talent that he done had around him to start his career? I think he good, but what if the extra boost is those players? Because it's not a coincidence that he struggle at times and don't look like the Justin Herbert everybody think he is when his whole cast ain't healthy, specifically the 2 starting receivers. And who knows if Keenan Allen is truly all the way healthy. He had a decent game. But to me, the Chargers offense is just a different offense when those 2 receivers ain't 100%. Whereas Trevor Lawrence is just his, and listen, everybody who they signed in the offseason, the Jags, had career years basically, but you wouldn't say that those dudes is Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. And I told you, the misuse of Austin Eckler, he got all these touchdowns and whatnot, and what is it doing for this team? Like, I just think Austin Eckler should be traded, or they need to really utilize it. Because I done said it all year. The fact that they don't use Austin Eckler as a legitimate running back, the best you get out of him is when you spread him out so he can catch and do these other type of things to score. When you need to run the ball effectively, he cannot do it. And I don't know if it's just him or if it's how they call this game. But because they don't have a running back or a scheme in which they can rely on the running back to help take pressure off of Justin Herbert, these is the type of things that happen. You score 27 points and you get good field position on probably 3 of those scores. And now it's a struggle all the way through because now the offense, the Jags are no longer making mistakes to give you easy turnovers and easy scores. Now you have to work on long fields and actually have to go down the field. And they did go down the field on one of their drives and score a long drive, but that was once. The Chargers offense never in the first half, even after they went up 27-0, looked to me as if they were going to just run away with this game. My concern for the Jags going into the next half was, could they settle down and operate their offense? Because as good as the Chargers defense looked in the first half, I knew that was not what the Chargers defense was going to look like the entire game because I watched the Chargers play. Not only that, the fact that they could not legitimately run. See, this is one of my problems with the Chargers. They play a game in which, and I say it every time I talk about them, these coaches, the coaching staff, the offensive coordinators, they call up game plans so that Justin Herbert can not only win the game, but look good doing it. That's why he throw the ball as much as he do. And it looked like they done tried to dumb it down at times, but then that's when the offense looked bad because then they just start dinking and dunking, which is what he did a lot when they didn't have their receivers. That's telling me, and I don't put that on Herbert because I done said multiple times. Let's say it was Herbert struggling. Coaches are there to help put these type of players in a position to make the game easier. These type of players consistently make your job easier. They get you hired. So when it's time for you to pay the piper and actually help the quarterback be better, you got to do it. I just don't know if there's people in place that's really helping get the most out of Justin Herbert. Just like I know the people are not in place to get the most out of Lamar Jackson. It's just not happening. And so I can't really put it on Justin Herbert because to me, the Chargers was one of the things that hurt them was Justin Herbert never had to be Justin Herbert because they did go up so much because of the interceptions. See, that can do one or two things to a quarterback and to an offense at times. That can force you to take your foot off of the gas pedal because you realize it might be an easy game. It's just something that happens. Or it can force a coach to start calling the game plan different. Not necessarily the players playing different. The coach just naturally start to call a different type of game plan. It's actually three things that can happen. Or it can force a team to never truly get into the calls that they would make if they were in a regular game. And so by the time the game get real, now they playing catch up and trying to force themselves to make plays and get to the things that they would do. Because now we look back on when we took this lead, we have a lot of wasted plays, runs that went for no yards, passes that didn't really matter. And we really weren't calling our offense. We were just doing things to keep the clock going. Now the clock ain't on our side. Now that defense on the other side done woke up and started playing. The offense on the other side is no longer making mistakes, and they are scoring touchdowns, not just 3 points. Now we are in a fight, and we are not properly, not necessarily prepared, but we're not fully heated up. We're not really ready to go. We was playing this game on cruise control. Now shit done hit the fan. That's kind of why I understand to an extent. I can't really blame Justin Herbert. I put this more so because I've seen these type of games happen where a team take a big lead and just naturally the game start getting called a different type of way. More so the defense start to play different when it's the players, because it's not necessarily the offense playing different, that the players on offense, it's the coaches calling the offensive different. The defense lack of effort there and the lack of good play, that's really what can hurt you. I don't even think that truly is what killed the Chargers, because the Chargers had that. Jacksonville had long drives to have to score in the second half of the game. The problem in this one was that the offense was so, and it's so crazy because you look at the completions that Justin Herbert made and whatnot, and if you don't look at the Chargers on a regular basis, you'll think, well, they still moved the ball. That's what the Chargers do. They have these short passes and short, quick plays that they run that are always going to go for completions and whatnot. That's just, it's kind of like the Shanahan offense, how dudes is running wide open. And I'll get to that game in a minute, after I'm done with this game. But I do want to interject real fast. When I bring up because of how it's plays in the Chargers offense, it's just naturally always going to be open because the play calling. It's kind of like how Shanahan always got. I like Brock Purdy. I've been repping Brock Purdy for a minute on the channel now. Y'all got to chill out. Y'all really don't know how to watch football games. Brock Purdy had a great game, and I was excited watching him play, even though he had a rough stretch throughout this game. I get on Twitter and I'm looking at people say like he this and he that, like all time great and all that. I'm like, wait. Almost every throw Brock had was wide open throws. It ain't just Brock. Y'all cannot be this confused on how you watching a football game. I'm happy that Brock is not making mistakes that's killing his team. I'm happy he can play within the confines of the offense. I'm happy he understand where the ball is supposed to go in the offense. Like, he not trying to do too much. He not trying to put his stamp on things. He just hitting. Just watch these games. Dudes is wide open who he hitting. It's just he hitting them. Like, he not having to make ultra difficult throws. We not asking him to go out there and carry his offense like Lamar, Pat, Josh. We not asking him to do that. That's not what he is being asked to do. So I don't know how y'all cannot understand what y'all are seeing when y'all watch teams play. When they have success, it's all on the quarterback. I would say as happy as I am for Purdy. See, now I have to watch how I celebrate him because motherfuckers is going to the extreme. As happy as I am on how Purdy is playing, this is to me, this is more of a Kyle Shanahan and the people around Purdy than it just is Purdy. Because he literally, all he is having to do is hit the dude that's running wide the fuck open. And Christian McCaffrey is absolutely going insane, which I knew was going to happen. But back to the Jaguars game. But so I can't blame Justin Herbert necessarily for not really putting an imprint on this game. Even though down the stretch when you realize this game could be slipping away, specifically after the 2-point conversion was converted to make it a 2-point game, you have to make plays right there. They go 3 and out and get a Jags the ball right back to all who already got momentum, who are already feeling it, who will go right back down the field and get the 3 points to win the game. This is, and a lot of things work for Jacksonville, and I'm gonna get to Jacksonville in a second. But if you the Chargers, that's a lot of things that happen. So that last drive where like, bro, we have to score now, bro. We cannot go 3 and out again. I need Justin Herbert, if he is who we say he is, to make plays there. I just need him to. I need him to be boisterous. I need him to be extra. I need him to show his team, yo, we have to convert right now. We have to win this game. We got to score. I didn't see that. 3 and out. Oh, well, we off the field again. Let's leave it up to the defense. No, I don't know where I'm not saying he lacked passion or anything like that, but where is the lack of passion that I don't want to say, because I'm not saying the man lacked passion, but I wanted to see it come out in him. In this type of atmosphere, in this type of game. It's a big game. Like, this is a huge game, my guy. Yeah, I was just up 27. It is now a 2-point lead y'all got. Didn't see it. But also, the play calling is just disastrous in these games for the Chargers. It's disastrous towards the end of the game when the shit gets real. Like, it's something that's not there with the play calling and how they call these games, how they, the run the pass ratio, when they decide to run the ball, the fact that they don't really utilize the run or Austin Eckler to what they should be trying to utilize him for. Like, this team is legitimately built to just pile up the stats for Justin Herbert. That's how they call these games. And it finally came back to bite him in the ass. Because now you have a game in which you can't call it necessarily for Herbert because your defense is the ones that's dominating it. But now, because you never get into a real rhythm because the defense is giving you short fields and whatnot, well, now the second half completely changed and you was never ready to wake up and take control of the game, because I never thought they truly had control of the game. I thought one dude was having an insane game. Another thing, however, another reason I did not think that this game was truly out of control, because for one, I didn't see Trevor Lawrence lowering his head in defeat. If he was doing that, that's a completely different story. I didn't see how Sam Darnold and, the Zach Wilsons hang their heads during games like this when you're struggling. But the thing about Trevor Lawrence is I saw Lamar Jackson throw 3 to 4 interceptions in the Cleveland game last year and still never lowered his head. He knew he could still get to do what he needed to do to win that game for his team. And he did. Made big plays down the stretch. I knew Trevor Lawrence could do the same thing. And when it comes to Trevor, matter of fact, I'll get to that in a minute. But the officiating in this game with the Chargers cornerbacks was ridiculous. There was so many missed pass interference calls that should have been called. If nothing else, impeding the receivers, pass interference should have been called multiple times on different charges. Asante Samuel Jr. got away with like 3 different pass interferences. And that's not even counting all the other dudes who got away with him. Melvin Ingram got a pass interference happened on him in the end zone right in front of the ref, and the ref didn't call it. Matter of fact, I think he had 2 pass interferences that happened right in front of referees in the red zone. Neither of them was called. Like, so many different times in this game, the Chargers should have been called. One time they got called for PI and it got picked up. And to me, it was wild watching it the entire night. Like, I kind of think the second interception, because the first one was a bobble that was batted up. Asante's first pick, I thought, was a pass interference. But they never called the aggressive play by the cornerback. So I'm like, this is actually pretty insane, because I don't think this should be a let him play type of scenario. too much contact is happening to these receivers down the field when they're trying to make these plays, and it's not being called. And it never really got called. I think they called it one time, and that was it. And it was on a play where Trevor Lawrence needed that shit to be called too, because his thumb was leaking because Calvin Noy accidentally stepped on his thumb, I believe. But that was very confusing that so many of those calls was missed in this game. I just thought the Chargers got away with multiple pass interference calls. And I can't even think of the name of the other one where it's not necessarily a spot foul, but you get 5 yards on it. But they should have been called for multiple calls of impeding the receiver's progress or ability to catch a pass, because Jesus Christ, they let the Chargers basically play a very physical game all the way to the end of this game. That's why I can't necessarily say it was the defense that stopped playing, because they didn't even start calling some of these plays. It's just Trevor Lawrence settled down from the first half and started making plays. He looked like Trevor Lawrence that was back in college in Clemson on a Saturday night in a big game, balling out, understanding I am Trevor Lawrence. And this is why I was seeing people say Justin Fields better than this dude. I don't understand you people who continue to say Justin Fields is better than Trevor Lawrence. It's confusing to me that Justin Fields can have accomplished nothing, can have been played as bad as he has played through the first 2 seasons. The redemption was how good he ran the ball for a quarterback, and people praise him for some reason. Like I saw the other day, and this is why I get so confused. This is why you got to really pick and choose who you watch talk about sports, bro, because I'm looking at Michael Wilbon, who is an NBA guy, but been around sports forever, say that if he was Chicago, he would not trade, if it was presented to him, Lamar Jackson for Justin Fields straight up. Now, I'm here to tell you a Lamar for Justin Fields trade straight up is just absolute stupidity. Who in their right fucking mind would trade Lamar Jackson straight up for Justin Fields, bro? That makes no sense. Justin Fields is nowhere near. Mind you, Lamar is 25 years old. This ain't like you trading a dude away that's 29, 30, 31 for a dude that's young. No. Lamar Jackson is like a year older than Justin Fields, or like 2 years older than Justin Fields. And in 2 years, he was already better than Justin Fields. And as a matter of fact, he was better than Justin Fields his first year in the league. Justin Fields is in his second year. And he won 2 games his first year, 3 games this year. Lamar won that many games, more than that, his first year playing. And he was put into the lineup and wasn't even a starter. Wilbon said he would not trade away a draft pick and Fields for Lamar Jackson. This is what I'm saying. This is exactly why Chicago will probably never have a quarterback. Because if you so stupid to believe, what do Justin Fields do better than Lamar Jackson? Because Justin Fields, but you could use for him in most arguments, you can't even use in this one. He don't run better than Lamar Jackson. Now, what do he do better than Lamar Jackson now that he don't run better? Because he don't throw better than him. He not better at anticipation throw. He don't do nothing throwing wise better than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson operates from the pocket. Justin Fields does not. Justin Fields immediately try to move out of the pocket. Lamar Jackson can go through reads and make decisions. Justin Fields cannot. To say you would not make a trade straight up for Lamar for Justin, or Lamar and for Justin and some draft picks, is absolute lunacy. And it just tells me that they do not watch these motherfuckers play football. Because in no world would I not trade a unanimous MVP for Justin Fields. Not to mention Lamar Jackson. For all the excuses you want to give Justin Fields on why he can't be good right now, why his team can't compete, you can get the same excuses for Lamar. He don't got weapons around him. He ain't got the best defense. His defense looked good because of the teams they done played recently. But they continuously played bad when they played against good teams early in the year and was blowing leads and shit like that. Go look at what they did last year. Lamar carries this team. Justin Fields don't carry the Bears. So in what universe? Like, bro, somebody got to call these analysts to the table. Like, how is it ever, like, and shout out to Tony Kornheiser, who was, his face made me realize he was blown away by this statement also, because he was like, yo, Lamar Jackson is generation, like, that is a special, you went, what? I'm the same way, Tony Kornheiser, because what are you talking about, Wilbon? In no world, bro, if you put the Bears right now, if you put them on a lie detector right now and say, would you make a straight up trade for Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson? And you can add the draft picks. I promise you they pull in that trade every time. It's lunacy, complete stupidity to continue to act as though just because they both black and run that they play just alike and they on the even pars. It's like the dude for the Bengals. I can't even remember which one it was at the moment. Talking about some fucking Lamar and Snoop Snoop ain't that far away from Lamar. Bro, what games are y'all watching, bruh? Y'all literally just be talking. But back to the games. With Trevor Lawrence in the second half of this game, my boy started looking like he was back on the field at Clemson on a Saturday night balling out. And once he started to get into that rhythm where now he done settled down, he hitting passes. Because to me, it was clear in the first half that he just was, the lights was a little bright. He needed to settle down. Him and a couple dudes they needed to settle down. But thank God for Evan Ingram, who I've always said was better than he played on the Giants. The Giants just don't have a quarterback. Plain and simple. I don't know how you watched the Giants and thought Evan Ingram was the problem. I kept telling people Evan Ingram is not a problem. He just played for a bad team that don't got a quarterback. If he played for a team with a quarterback, he'd be a special weapon because not only is he good at catching and all that other shit, he fast. Look at what Evan Ingram has done for mind you, I think he on a 1-year deal. Jacksonville would be absolutely foolish not to bring this dude Evan Ingram back because what he has done, not just for this team this year, what he did in this game. You take Evan Ingram out of this game, the Jags do not get back in this game. I knew Trevor Lawrence would have, and see, this is why I have a problem when people bitch about Lamar throwing it to Mark Andrews as if he got anybody else to throw it to. Because you don't do the same thing with Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. Mind you, when people tried to bitch about that last year and the receiver came out and was talking about it, I got mad about that because I'm like, you can't possibly understand why a quarterback throw it to a certain person as much as they do. If they decide to, through hell and high water, I'm throwing it to this guy, that's because he trusts him with his life on the field. That's his guy. You can tell that Trevor Lawrence's guy on this football field is Evan Ingram. When they was going into halftime, he was talking to Evan Ingram. When they was coming out, that is who he trusts the most on the football field. And so I knew in the second half, Evan Ingram would have to have an even bigger half than he was having in the first half. Because he the one who got the touchdown in the half. I knew it would go through Evan Ingram because that's Trevor Lawrence's guy. It'll be absolute. And I don't think what they seeing from Evan Ingram is just like a facade or a 1-year type of thing. I actually think Evan Ingram is this good. And I think you need to lock him up and keep him beside Trevor Lawrence. I really do. I don't think you need to go out there and try to make a trade for another tight end. Don't try to sign a Darren Waller or make a trade. Evan Ingram is a damn good tight end. And he already has a connection with Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence just showed you on his biggest game of his career so far, down 27-0. Who was he willing to go to the most to get him back in that game, to get his rhythm back, to get him back on track? Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram was his receiver one tonight. Mind you, he got a good supporting cast with Christian. Now, I do think they need to go out and get him a legitimate number one receiver. The beauty in Evan Ingram is he can play outside like a receiver because of his frame and his speed. But if you had Evan Ingram and you go get Trevor Lawrence, a number one receiver, a game-changing receiver on the outside to help with the Zay Jones and, Christian Kirks, because I like this core that they have. But a game-changing receiver could take this team over the top. And you look at the fight. And one of the biggest things that Jags had going in this game for him is Doug Peterson been there, done that. It's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Super Bowl winning head coach. That matters. On a team that was so... Now, I'm never going to agree with the Nick Foles shit that transpired there towards Carson Wentz. But maybe Carson Wentz really was a piece of shit that people in the locker room didn't like. Don't know, don't care, wasn't there. What I do know is the players love Doug Peterson. And they bought into whatever he was selling. And so when you got a team that's already behind the head coach, you got a head coach that's been to the biggest stage, won at the biggest stage, and played in these big games, I knew the moment wouldn't get too big for him as far as like coming out in the second half and being just as flat. I had a feeling they would come out in that second half and at least be more competitive with Doug Peterson as the head coach. Because he done been here before. He understand how these things go. And I figured, like I said, Trevor Lawrence would settle down and understand Justin Herbert ain't doing nothing special right now. Meaning, as bad as you might think we not playing that bad. It might be 27-0, but the defense is not letting Justin Herbert go wild right now. Now, the defense did get blessed towards the end of this game in the fourth quarter when they got that stop that ended in a missed field goal. They made a lot of it was 2 different times where they could have got off the field and just boneheaded plays and decisions kept them on the field and moved them closer to a field goal. They got very lucky and very fortunate that good coaching by Doug Peterson ended in a not only a good coaching decision, but in a fortunate miss by Dicker the kicker, who they love to say. And I'm happy he out of the playoffs so I can stop hearing them say that shit every week. But you got very fortunate that he missed that kick, because this could have been a different type of game if he don't miss that kick. But he did. And this in the playoffs, bro, some people, you might not realize it at times, but every little thing matter, bro. Joey Bosa, with his not being able to control his emotions tonight, is a part of why the Chargers lost this game. Because now, instead of this team kicking a field goal at an extra point, now they going for 2 because of your penalty, put them at the 1 yard line or at the half a yard line. Because you couldn't keep your emotions in check. Like, it's so many different, you don't realize that this is not, well, you do realize that it's not a regular season game, but the value and the thing and the little details matter so much more in this type of game. It just do. And so if you Joey Bosa, and I understand Joey Bosa never been in this moment before, but you just have to understand it. It's kind of like at the 44 who pushed Justin Herbert down once they sacked Justin Herbert, and instead of just letting him go, he pushed him down to the ground. And it's now that you no longer get a 15 yards loss on the sack, now you giving up 15 yards on an unnecessary roughness. I mean, on unsportsmanlike conduct after the play for the Jags player. And like I said, they very fortunate that drive ended in a missed field goal. But every little thing matters in a playoff game, bro. You have to understand how to control your emotions and stay in check. Joey Bosa, I'm not mad that you thought the dude jumped off, that he was off. It was a false start. I thought it was a false start at first, too. The reason I can't be mad at that is because 2 things. For one, the previous play, it should have been a pass interference in the end zone on Asante Samuel Jr. on Evan Ingram. It wasn't called. Shit was right in front of their referee. Did not get called. They missed a play for the Jags and then missed a play for you. You cannot react like that. Because if the Jags decide to react like that, they could potentially hurt themselves from scoring. What do? They come right back to the next play, throw a touchdown, and get in the end zone. They did that multiple times tonight where they could have bitched and complained all night and got picked up for flags and shit like that for bad calls. But they settled down and they understood we ain't going to win this game bitching and complaining to the refs. It just is what it is. The one drive where the Jags kind of started losing a little bit of control was the defense on that drive that they fortunately ended in a missed field goal. But aside from that, you got to learn how to keep your emotions in control because every yard matter in a playoff game. And you got to understand, bro, we lose this, it's done. We never know how these penalties, these flags, these yards that we freely given up affect us at the end of the game when the clock done struck 0. It just is what it is. So now the game go from possibly, a 3-point game to tie the game to now if they kick a field goal, they win the game because I couldn't keep my emotions in control. And now they go for 2 instead of going for the 1 that they was going to go for. All of this shit matters ultimately. And so I'm pretty sure Joey Bosa will learn from this. And he picked up 2 penalties because he had said something to one of the referees in this game. That shit was hilarious. I don't know what he said, but the reaction from the ref was like, what the fuck you just say to me? Oh, no. He ran right beside him so he could see it. Look at this motherfucker. Flag, you hoe ass. I'm not going to finish what I would say, but flag, ho. That's basically what that shit was a hilarious reaction to me. But just a great now the Jags, you go into stiffer competition now. And I like Trevor Lawrence, and I'm glad he got those jitters out. I'm glad he started looking like Trevor Lawrence in this game. But you can't go down 27 against Buffalo against Cincinnati, against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Can't do it. Cannot do it. They ain't Justin Herbert. They'll get it done. So happy the Jags got this win. Like I knew this was gonna be a good game. Could not have imagined that it was gonna go start 27-0. But I never lost the faith. I never lost the faith. Because I came into this game telling myself, listen, if Justin Herbert was you see, the thing is, I'm not disrespecting Justin Herbert, but I don't look at him the way I look at Lamar, Allen, Pat Mahomes. I just don't. And furthermore, I also don't look at him how I look at Burrow. And I don't look at Burrow how I look at them other three, but I look at Burrow as possibly the fourth best quarterback in the league, even though it's hard for me to tell at times because he do got so much talent around him. I look at Herbert more so in that light. I just don't think he is as good as Burrow. And so because I think he land more so in the Trevor Lawrence category, in the Dak Prescott category, more than people would like to actually admit. But I actually think Trevor Lawrence better than both of them. That's the thing. And listen, you cannot like that opinion. I done backed it up with everything I done said on multiple shows this year. It's just that if they gave Justin Herbert a better offensive coordinator, a better gut game, it would look so much different possibly. But that would be because I like Justin Herbert. He is definitely a top 10 quarterback. I just don't look at him the way I would look at those other ones. And if he were a Burrow, a Lamar, a Mahomes, a Allen, I would have picked him to win this game. It wouldn't even been no decision for me because I'm picking the better quarterback that I think is going to find a way at the end. You see, this is my thing. I just trust those other dudes to make a play when the game is now a 2-point game and not go 3 and out. Or at least to get their team down the field and get another field goal to make it so that the other team have to go get 6 now. I can't put my faith in Justin Herbert right now for a multitude of reasons. And like I said, I don't put it all on him, but it's just hard for me to do it when I see what Lamar Jackson, but it's difficult when I see what Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. When I look at them, it's just completely different to me than when I look at Herbert. I understand he pile up all the stats and shit like that, but I look at him more so around the Dak Prescott type level than I do look at him as those other dudes. And because I thought Trevor Lawrence was listen, maybe Trevor Lawrence don't end up as the better quarterback, but just right now from what I've seen, and maybe it's a biasness because I do like Trevor Lawrence. Well, I don't dislike Herbert or nothing like that, but I've been watching Trevor Lawrence since he was in college. But I've been very critical of Trevor Lawrence also at times when I had to be critical of him. But it did take me a while to start being critical because that's my guy. However, I am also the dude who made a lot of people say excuses. But listen, the shit that he had to deal with last year, I wouldn't wish that on no quarterback, bro. You do not draft a rookie quarterback and then go get a college head coach to be his head coach, bro. That is insane. Mind you, he did not have the talent around him that he got this year. So, listen, I just rock with Trev. Now, I'm not picking him to beat these other dudes unless they go up against the Ravens somehow, which won't happen because if the Ravens get to the next round, they'd be playing against the Chiefs. But I think right now the Jags will be going up against Mahomes. That's going to be a good game because the Chiefs defense, you never know what you're going to get from them. You just never know. So it could be a shootout. I hope it's a great game. I'm not going to pick them to win, but I'm still going to pray that my boy Trevor Lawrence ball out. Prince Pretty. Now I'm not Acho or Nick Wright. You can look through my video. I done been critical of Trevor Lawrence. I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence fan, but I have been critical when I needed to be critical of him. It might take me a minute to get to it, but I talked about turning the ball over too much. He fixed that problem damn near right after I had said something about it. So, listen, nothing against Justin Herbert. I think that is a good quarterback. I think the things around him is holding him back more so than anything that he's doing. But I just feel like Trevor Lawrence is in a great situation right now to blossom. See, he got a head coach that wasn't ever going to tell him to stop throwing the ball. You got some head coaches that would have tried to limit what their quarterback did after throwing an interception. They kept letting him throw the ball. They fully believe in Trevor Lawrence, and you need that so that you can grow and be who you want to be. Now, let's get to something else, because I'm not going to talk about the 49ers game on this one. I'll get them their own video. Talk about this little cast of Sean Payton, Charles Woodson, and Michael Vick. Very interesting. They were talking about Lamar Jackson, and you heard things, you not as important as the team, and just throw a brace on your knee and get out there and play. And I'm very glad social media let them have it. Such a disgusting agenda. And Peter Schrager was also involved in this, who was trying to push a narrative that Lamar was holding out and that he was being a bad teammate the other day. So I don't want to let him off the hook either. But this is absolutely disgusting, that a player can tell you straight up, I am injured. I cannot play. And people can still get on TV. Former players and coaches can get on TV, knowing how hard this game is, knowing that injuries aren't tough in this game, and still say he not being a good teammate. Throw a brace on there, bro. You good? You healthy enough to play? It's so funny how we become expert doctors at other people's bodies when we want them to entertain us, when them playing would benefit us. It's such a shame that even football players who were once in position to be degraded and dehumanized like this are now in positions where they could shed light on this, and they choose to do the dehumanizing also now. That is such a disgusting fucking thing to see. Michael Vick should be ashamed of himself. Sammy Watkins should have been cut yesterday. If he truly made those comments, which I don't know why they would lie, he should have been cut by the Ravens. John Harbaugh should be embarrassed that Lamar Jackson has done for you what he has done for you, and you can't go to the media and just say, defend your quarterback. Cut out all the noise. The man is injured. He cannot play. But you don't do that, because him not playing make your life harder. So instead of having his back like you have it when he making your job easier, now you don't have his back. I done told you a million reasons as to why I'm Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't re-sign with the Ravens. But hell, now I got a million different more reasons as to why I would never re-sign with this fucking organization. Because the level of disrespect that the Ravens have operated with dealing with Lamar Jackson is absolutely fucking disgusting. Nobody in this organization that had his back after he carries this organization year in, year out. John Harbaugh was about to lose his job until Lamar Jackson saved him. This franchise was headed into obscurity before Lamar Jackson came and saved him. And this is how they repay him. Michael Vick should be ashamed of his fucking self. My boy, I don't think you done played but one full season in your career. But you a dude who injured all the time sitting up here telling Lamar Jackson to throw a brace on it. RG3 threw a brace on it and tried to suit up for a playoff game and never was playing again and never played the same again. Basically cost him his career because the pressure that fans and the outside media put on people to play when they know their bodies. And because some of them is not as strong-willed as a Lamar Jackson, they'll fold to the pressure and they'll play and risk further injury to their career. Now, it's a good thing that RG3 made it out alive and got this gig that he got now to make up for the money that he lost in the NFL. But who's to say that'll happen for Lamar if something go out there and he fuck up his knee even more? It's so insensitive and disgusting. It's such a wicked narrative to be pushing for Charles Woodson and Michael Vick to sit up there and do and say what they said, specifically those two, because they played. Sean Payton and Peter Schrager ain't never played the game. Sean Payton has seen players deal with injury, so he should be disgusted in himself also. But this is the same coach that said he care more about a relationship with his owner than he do with the players. So that tell you the type of man that he is, in my opinion. So I could give a damn what he say too. I'm not too surprised at what he say. Peter Schrager is a dude in the media who gonna always want to push narratives like this because it make his job funner. It give him something to talk about when he go to work. as disgusting of a human being as it could be that you would do things like this, because I can't imagine that any of these dudes would be forcing their sons to go out there and play on a partially torn grade 2, borderline grade 3 PCL. I can't imagine they would all tell their sons to go out there and throw a brace on. Can't imagine they wouldn't be offended if they heard the media making up stories that their sons is hurt. I mean, is holding out for money when they know damn well their sons is hurt. Couldn't imagine it. Couldn't imagine how they would be talking then. But because they have no relation to Lamar Jackson and they just here to be entertained because they've become fans now and they've forgotten that they were players, just throw a brace on it. You ain't as important as the team. Motherfucker, he is the team. Because this team don't do nothing without him. Oh, they got to the playoffs without him. They got to the playoffs because of Lamar Jackson. Not because of the defense. No. So, it's just very disgusting. I lost a mountain of respect for Charles Woodson because I know a lot of people saying, oh, man, I lost a lot of respect for Michael Vick. Didn't really care for Michael Vick before anyways. I wasn't one of those kids that grew up idolizing Michael Vick. Never was one of my favorite quarterbacks. I always make a statement. I done probably talked about it on this show before about how he never was played a full season in the NFL. So it's just very interesting that he the one who made these comments. But Charles Woodson is a dude who I did idolize growing up. Cannot believe that he made the comments he made. Lost a shit ton of respect for him. I know I'm not going to never look at him the same after this because to me, what he, Sean Payton, Peter Schrager, and Vick sat up there and talked and did today was just absolutely disgusting. It was disgusting. Or yesterday, because this video will be up the day after. But it was disgusting. And for a player who done been as loyal to the Ravens as he done been and has never shown any type of selfishness whatsoever, for grown-ass men who know how this game and this business work, to do what they are doing to Lamar Jackson is absolutely insane. And this is exactly why the NFL is not a brotherhood. These motherfuckers is out here to get it for themselves. Most of them. And that's fine. But this right here, absolutely disgusting. And I just got a picture sometime down the line. Lamar gonna get a hold of this footage. There's no way he not. And I'm imagining that Lamar Jackson gonna feel some type of way towards Michael Vick. And I'm imagining Vick bitch ass will get on TV someday and be like, well, I don't really have a close relationship with Lamar Jackson. He gonna try to make it seem like Lamar is Lamar's fault. When your disgusting ass is a player who was hurt all his career, never played a full season except for once, I believe, was nowhere near as good as Lamar Jackson. As a matter of fact, you should be thanking Lamar Jackson because your name only is still relevant because of Lamar Jackson. Because every time Lamar do something great, people seem to bring your bitch ass up. You have legitimately been staying alive the last couple years as relevancy wise because of Lamar. He has been your lifeline. He has been what keep you in cliques and shit like that. Because every time he do something amazing, people bring you up. Even though Lamar Jackson is 10 times the quarterback that you were. You ain't accomplished it you nowhere near as accomplished as Lamar Jackson. You not better than Lamar Jackson. People who actually watch football know you not better than Lamar Jackson. Lamar been better than you since his MVP year, my boy. You ain't never put together no season like Lamar Jackson done put together. You never carried the Falcons like Lamar Jackson carried the Ravens. So for you, a dude who was nowhere near as good as Lamar Jackson, but you played the same position, you should understand the importance of making your quarterback, having a healthy quarterback, not going out there risking his future injuries and career. But I guess you don't understand that because you weren't a franchise quarterback. You weren't a unanimous MVP or MVP. You weren't a Lamar Jackson. You weren't a quarterback that could play with lesser than talent and still carry your team to the playoffs and be in an MVP conversation every year. When people talk about you, my boy, I ain't even gonna keep going. But the shit was disgusting. I ain't Lamar Jackson. I get disrespectful and hella vindictive and shit when you start talking crazy, my boy. That's why I can't wait to blow up one day because y'all motherfuckers really gonna hate me then because y'all gonna have to hear me, bro. Y'all not gonna be able to let these shits lay under the weeds and hope that I blow. No, when I blow up and y'all still talking crazy and I'm not gonna never forget this shit, bro. Just understand that. For the people who listen to me now, understand most of the shit that I'm saying will be said again one day when I am big time and everybody listening to me. And I ain't gonna never forget y'all. But so I don't want y'all to never forget this shit. Y'all want y'all to be in the comments, be like, bro, he used to say this back in the day when I used to watch him growing up before he was big time. Yeah. I'm not going to forget how disgusting Michael Vick and Charles Woodson and Sean Payton were to Lamar Jackson. And this is why it don't pay to be good. It don't pay to be a good human being sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, because Lamar Jackson has been nothing but loyal and good to the Baltimore Ravens. And look at how they've done him and how the media has done him ever since. He should have been selfish like Kyler Murray and got his money. The Ravens offered this man $130 fully guaranteed, which was less than Kyler, Russell, and a lot of other dudes. Why in the fuck would he accept a contract like that when he know for a fact he better than them? I don't see the media talking about that. I don't see how the media talk about how Baltimore done misdiagnosed multiple players on the Ravens injuries the last couple years who done had to get second opinions outside of the facility and be out longer or leave after coming back from injuries because the injury didn't fully heal or something else was wrong. It happened to Staley. It happened to J.K. Dobbins. It's not happened to Lamar. Like, how many times can the Ravens get a pass for being a not great franchise, but you keep painting it as they are because you don't talk about the flaws of the Ravens? It's ridiculous, but this night belonged to my guy Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Evan Ingram. What a fucking game. Doug Peterson, Travis Etienne, Zay Jones, Christian Patrick. The defense, Josh Allen on the Bills side. I can't pronounce the captain of the Bills defense the Jags defense because he got a weird ass name. But shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tomorrow I will be back to talk about the San Francisco 49ers game. Yeah, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody. You wish that Michael Vick and them boys would have thought about that also, but they didn't. But, fuck them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.